Well, hey, Next Gen Matters. This is Rich Brown, and I have got a very, very, very cool opportunity to bring to you a veteran, a rock star in student ministry. I mean, look where Scott is at. He's in the studio, man. This is awesome. Scott Price. Scott is from Worcester. I say it like it's Massachusetts, but it's Ohio. Worcester. How do y'all say it? Worcester?
Yeah, actually Worcester, like the word root. You know, it's
Root.
more like, yeah,
Worcester.
yeah.
Now, I heard Worcester, Ohio, is famous, other than for Scott Price, is famous for Rubbermaids.
Yes, and of course, one day Rubbermaid was a little larger than it is today, and I think it's pretty much barely on life support if it's even around. But at one time it was pretty strong.
Man, it's probably because of all those tiny houses. People are downsizing.
It could be.
Exactly. Hey, we're going to play a lightning round with Scott and kind of get to know him a little bit. Scott, what year were you married?
1988.
Scott, what's the name of your wife?
Melinda.
And 1988. So that puts you all at, my math's going to stink right now. I've been married 35 years. So you've been married 32 years?
32. Yes, sir.
Woo. Okay. You got two babies who are all grown up. One baby just got married.
That's right. Yes, that's Leisha. She just got married August 29th, and then Logan goes January 2nd. So it's going to be a lightning round for us in marriages too.
Wow. Wow. And you were telling me earlier, you got to take her down the aisle.
Yeah.
And kind of rotate and be the one to do the ceremony.
Yes, sir. It was quite a trip. It was emotional, but for us, we were actually pretty good shape because we'd already done a 10-person or less wedding service earlier. So this was the wedding celebration. So we had some practice.
Yeah. Thanks to the Rona, she got a double round of getting married. Yeah. And I know we did the same thing. Well, not two, but with my daughter 2 years ago, I was able to bring her down. My dad started it, and then we flipped and I got to do the ceremony. So it's very cool. All right. So you're a big sports guy. Favorite baseball team?
Cleveland Indians, always.
Yeah, you are thick and thin. Yeah, there you go, man. You got the tribe.
Yeah.
Favorite football? You got, I think, dual citizenship on this one. Favorite football team?
Yeah, the Cleveland Browns, and we won last night, so we're in a good place.
All right. You like the Chiefs too?
Love the Chiefs. We did youth ministry in Kansas City, Missouri, right out of college. We went to Liberty University. Melinda and I graduated. Our first job was in Kansas City, Missouri, and immediately we became Kansas City fans. Lived there for 4 years, some of the best years of our lives.
Yeah. See, I saw you sporting the, repping the Chiefs stuff this last year. So you weren't bandwagon. You jumped on back.
No, I've been cheering for them through the good and the bad. So I was going to enjoy the good.
Well, yeah, because you've been a Browns fan. We'll just leave it at that, right? Okay.
It's nice to have a backup.
No, do you follow basketball?
Yes, and of course that's Cleveland too. Cleveland Cavs, of course.
So in case you don't know, Worcester is actually in Northeast Ohio, which is known for, other than Rubbermaids, also a lot of crazy weather.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, it can drop temperatures quickly.
Yeah, cool, very cool. We're gonna jump right into it. So, Scott, your journey of faith, calling it a ministry, kind of give us your backstory on that.
Yeah, so I'm motivated to be a part of youth ministry because I'm a product of youth ministry. Wow. In an alcoholic home, difficult times, love my parents, love my dad, but we just had a tough time. And then of course, financially, just everything hitting us all at very difficult times. And all that coming together, it was very clear that I needed something. And that something, of course, is Jesus. But I had some amazing youth leaders, even through very difficult, the churches were legalistic, but yet the love was so strong, and the care for people and to reach out and to care and to reach students like myself. I was not an easy person to reach. And yet these adults, these caring adults, man, they were hardcore. They didn't give up, And so
that's
because
neat.
Of that kind of love, I can't get over the fact what someone did for me. And so I kind of got motivated that way. And of course that happened here in Northeast Ohio as well too.
I know you quite well, but I didn't know that part of your story, which to me makes more sense why you have such a heart for our topic today, which is on you leading students and doing a lot of mission work overseas. So that actually to me makes a lot of sense. You never forgot what it's like to be that, let me say, outsider.
Yes.
That didn't grow up in the mainstream church, that Dude, that makes total sense of who you are. So you're calling it a ministry. What's going on with that?
That's the incredible thing, is that after doing youth ministry for 30 some years, we now I forgot the number, but it's a lot of years. We found that it's so valuable to be pouring that into other youth pastors and youth leaders, and I shared that with a mission organization here in Ohio, Northeast Ohio, called Interlink, and I shared that with them, the direction and passion I had to pour into other youth ministries, locally, nationally, globally, and they go, "That's a great idea. Be our missionary." So
Oh, wow.
it was a no-brainer, and we moved forward. And that was 3 years ago. And so we've been able to, in the last 3 years, be able to assist youth ministries. Most of the time is through speaking. A lot of times a youth pastor can use a speaker, and that's a nice blessing. This next weekend, I'll be speaking at a youth retreat, and that's a plus. But we always hope that it goes a little further, whether it could be some speaking, maybe some training, maybe preaching, or perhaps an opportunity to do some teaching on something that's important to them. Could maybe coaching and some consulting. But down the road, I hope that somewhere we develop such a connection that I'm now part of their world, so that I can be a mentor to them, or at least another resource, maybe just a phone call away when that challenging situation is there. So
Yeah.
it takes on a lot of different roles.
Cool. Well, let's step back a little bit. You started at what, 22, 23, 24?
Yeah, I I did everything late. I graduated, and 4 years later, graduated from high school, and I had a great job in a factory, so I had no intentions to
Okay.
go into youth ministry. But in that process, I was volunteering as a youth leader, and had some good conversations with people that if I wanted to do more of that, I really needed to get an education. So at 22, when all my friends were getting their degrees, I started as a freshman at Liberty University.
Wow. And you got a youth degree?
Yeah, under Dr. Dave Adams and Doug Bramlett and Dave Marston and Matt Wilmington right by the end of our time there. So those are the guys that were teaching us youth ministry back in the day. And you were part of those programs and stuff where
I was a little ahead of you.
a little ahead, yeah.
Matt and I were actually classmates. We graduated together and we're in Youth Quest together
Right?
long time ago.
Right. How about,
Yeah.
of course, we felt like pioneers in those days. It's like we were going places that we hoped that other youth ministries
Right.
programs would go one day.
And then you went off to grad school in Chicago.
I went to Kansas City right after, and
Okay.
I kind of thought, boy, I don't even want to do this college degree thing, but that's important. It's kind of,
Right.
it's the passport, and I've learned so much. I met my beautiful wife at Liberty. It was the best thing I could have ever done in my life. I'm so happy. But we went to Kansas City. I thought I was done with school forever. And then while there, I was definitely coached to consider a master's degree. And then, so I did Moody Bible Institute while I was in ministry. So it was a double win.
Okay. Gotcha. Very cool. And then you served in various local churches, pretty much in the Northeast in Ohio?
Yeah, so after Kansas City, we came right back.
I said Northeast. I'm sorry, Northeast Ohio. So
Yeah, we came back to here in Ohio, and we've been here since '93, so a few years.
So the kids are growing up there. That's neat. That's
Yeah.
neat. Okay, now, so here we are. You're working, I believe you're working in a local church,
That's
and
right.
you're also part of Interlink.
That's right. And the third job is I'm a Spanish teacher for the local Christian school. So
Yes.
that's just keeping me busy,
Wow. That's neat. So now let's really kind of drill down in the missional component. You're a 30 plus year veteran. So am I. We'll also have Jerry Major coming on in the next week or so. And he's 30 plus years in Youth for Christ. So I really want to showcase, I call it ages and stages of ministry for our viewers. I want to showcase different people who are starting in ministry, who've got 5-10 years of traction, but I really want younger ministry leaders to hear from more seasoned ministry leaders. I didn't say we're old. I said we're seasoned. So Scott, you're seasoned. So here we go. All right. My wondering, that's really good English, Rich. I am wondering if you being able to do these mission experiences has kept you fresh in the game. Is that true, or am I off with that?
You can be more right. In fact, sometimes people ask, like, what did you do in those times when you started to lose interest in youth ministry, or how did you keep that fresh and vital? And while we could talk all day about that, there's many different things that happened. The biggest one was exactly that. You hit it on the head. When I was able to take what we've been doing for all these years and then take it to another country and then share that afresh. that whole vision's renewed. Because when I'm sharing, what's like old news to me is something very special to somebody else, and they're just eating every word like it's so important. And so it became more and more important. So then you go to another country and in a different location, a different church, and it renews each time over and over again. And all of a sudden you found that what it is that you thought was becoming mundane is actually revitalized.
Wow, cool. Hey, give us a couple of quick stories, some really cool God stories.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, probably my favorite one, I tell this one all the time, is that we were in the Dominican Republic about 12 years ago, and we're sharing the gospel, and we have testimonies and music, and the kids are doing amazing work. And we get to, they said, we got to go down to this night, we're going to a different church. And so we keep going to churches each night.
Right.
Great things are happening. And again, on mission trips, while it's important to minister to the culture, as a youth pastor, and this sounds super selfish, but it's actually very intentional. I'm going and I'm bringing students. My number one goal is to help those students and youth leaders to grow in their faith. I'm trusting that in that country, I'm helping them to figure out how to do that for themselves as well too. And we're helping and coaching them to do that. But so I'm giving these students all kinds of great opportunities. We get to the church, there's no building, and their minds blown, like, oh wait, how are we going to share the gospel? Everything we do is dependent upon the music and we need some electricity. So they got a generator, and we're out on the streets, and it gets dark. And so we're trying to share the gospel, and we have this incredible drama that we're doing based on Carmen's song, The Champion. It's a classic.
What year was this?
This was 12 years ago, but it was a classic already by then. So you can imagine.
Dude, I used to sing that. The soundtrack days of the 80s.
You had that track, huh?
Yeah, they're I used to, back in the day, I used to be a singer, and all the soundtracks are now probably melting up in the attic. Who uses soundtracks anymore? But anyway, I know this song. Most of us 35 and 40 younger are like,
10.
Carmen, and what's The Champion?
9, 8.
Yeah, I hear you. Just go on YouTube, y'all. You'll laugh. Anyway, go ahead.
So they want to do the song because that's where the gospel presentation's all in this song.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. But it's dark, and we don't have sound. So they get the generator. We're cranking it up through the speakers, and they're like, but wait, nobody's going to see it. It's in the dark. And so 2 guys got their cars, and they put their headlights on.
That's
and
good.
Our spotlights. And when we're doing the battle in the dusty road,
right.
This dust and the lights, the look was far better than anything I've ever seen in Hollywood. It just had this amazing feel, and there were hundreds of people coming around. The students were like, we thought we weren't going to be able to do this, and yet God provided a greater way. And instead, then when we did worship, they got to see the stars at night, and it was like what was supposed to be, we thought was going to be a failure, ended up being a night that we'll never, ever forget.
So we could do ministry without a building. Who the fuck?
Speaking of that
yeah, really.
The church we're in right now, we're one of those classic, you've been a part of churches like that too, where we go into a high school and we don't have a building either, but we're able to see hundreds of people hear the gospel every week because
that's cool.
It's sharing the word,
Yeah. Hey, if anyone wants to reach out to you, ask you questions, and because you've led mission trips with students, I know you and Melinda have also done your own. I see the sign because I stalk you. I ghost you on Facebook. Okay. But I mean, I'm a fan, dude. I love you. And it's like, I love to see your passion, your fervor. I can't think of a more nicer and encouraging guy than Scott Price. I want to be Scott when I grow up. Okay. But I'm like, if they want to reach out to you to ask you questions about mission work, how could they reach out to you?
Yeah. The easiest way would be to remember my name and then just use my middle initial in there. And so Scott F. Price, the new number 2 at Gmail. So
Scott F. Price at Gmail.
Yeah.
Because Scott Price used to play guard for the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Oh, technically
that's an 80s thing. No, that's Mark Price. My bad, Mark Price.
But
maybe he's got a brother, Scott. I don't know.
I came to Ohio in '93, and of course, the church was so excited because they kept saying, we've got Mark Price as our youth pastor. And they kept saying Mark Price. It took me years to become Scott because I was still Mark, and they couldn't understand how I could play basketball and actually be at the church at the same.
Wow, we are dating ourselves today. I told you we were seasoned. We're talking Cleveland Cavaliers of the 90s and Carmen the Champion.
we just got a throwback.
Exactly. All right. Well, dude, I love you. And I praise the Lord for your ministry and just our relationship we have. And you're such an encouragement to me. You've been that way for all these years. I got to know your daughter and son both down here in Virginia. And it's been really cool to even kind of like in somewhat represent you a little bit as not that we're their parents by any means, but I mean, your daughter sometimes say, well, it's in church. And it was just really cool to have that extension, I guess, of you, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to say before we wrap up is I just wanted to make sure anybody that's listening or connected with you and Next Gen, they really need to get involved. You offer so much. You've helped us in so many ways personally, and I want to say thanks for that. Obviously, your investment in my daughter while she's on campus 500 miles away from home, and she knew that you guys were that resource for her, and that was very valuable. But then more importantly, not more importantly, nothing can be more important to my family, but just as important was how many of my students came through your classroom and that you invested in them, and you even allowed me to come to class and to teach and share. And that actually kind of I think that's where I kind of caught some of this vision of being a part of others who have a youth ministry future. And so that happened so naturally that I thought, why not do this more? So God's used you in many different ways in my life. And so I definitely appreciate you. And I love what God's doing with you and what your future is with this. I just want everybody that has the chance to be involved in your ministry, they should do it because it's going to be a big plus.
Thanks, buddy. We're going to bring Scott back for another round, probably another few weeks or so, to talk about the benefits of longevity. And he just kind of gave a great commercial for that. He had so many of his students who came into the classroom with me. It's so many of your students, Scott, are actively now in professional, in ministry as pastors, as ministry leaders, and many others as volunteers and just being, whether it's awesome stay-at-home moms or just being in the marketplace. I mean, God has really used you for 30 years, 30 plus. So we're going to actually talk about that in another episode of, when you hang into this game a long time, God gives you the reward, the fruit of your labor. So you guys have a great week. And as I always say here at Next Gen Matters when I sign off, what you do matters because students matter, because the gospel matters. Have a great week, youth leader.